Hey, welcome to God's Glory and Men's Real Stories. I'm excited that you would join us today for another great episode. And to all those listening for the first time, hey, I want to thank you for joining us. I want you to know that your story and what you may be going through, they matter here. And you're not alone. So don't worry about what chapter you're in because God's still writing your story. So, hey, sit back with a community that cares about you and hopes that you feel God's love as well as see God's glory in Men's Real Stories. So my special guest, as always, is a brother who I feel like he's been a huge part of my journey as he's seen me in many lights and encouraged me in many of those. And when I felt like I had no idea like what I was doing or where I was going with things, he was there just to kind of give me some pointers or tell me like, yeah, maybe stand in the light a little bit more. Yeah, pronounce yourself a little bit more. And, you know, I didn't look at those things lightly. And so I really appreciated those. So today I'm just excited to be able to turn the tables on him and be able to see what God continues to do in his life and put on his heart. So I want to welcome our brother, Isaac Stevens, to the episode.
Robert, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. What'd you think about that?
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very well spoken.
Okay. Well, I sure hope God put something on your heart because I put it out there that he was or that he has. And so.
Well, you know, as we discussed before, I came in with no notes, no agenda, nothing, just ready to talk.
Then you follow the directions because you notice that I don't have any notes here either.
Right. Yeah.
And normally people are like, well, do you take notes from the things that I say? Oh, no, I do. I mentally log them. Plus it's on video,
right.
so I can go
I mean,
back
it's
and
getting captured as it goes. So.
Exactly. So, but no, I'm excited to be able to just sit down and have a conversation with you. We don't really get to do a lot of these, even though we see each other a lot. We don't get to do these. So I'm gonna start by letting you introduce yourself as much as you want to my audience today.
Well, that could be dangerous.
Okay, all right. I kind of noticed how I hesitated when I was like,
yeah.
Introduce.
It's like that one person in church where you're like, Pastor, hold the mic. Don't give him the mic. Don't do it. Nope.
That's a rule. That's a rule anyway. I've heard.
Yeah.
But yes, I've given you a full mic today, and I don't have a button that can immediately shut you off. So, you know, as much as you'd like to give.
Wonderful. Well, we'll keep it brief.
Okay. It works.
Been married for coming up on 21 years to the most amazing person that God has blessed me with for sure. Have 3 amazing kids. My daughter, who's an intern at Elevation, she'll be 19 in March. Got a 16-year-old son who's graduating early. He'll be actually graduating in July this year and finishing up as a junior instead of going into a senior year. And he's looking forward to hopefully getting on it as an intern as well at church. And then my youngest, who is 14, Oliver, who you've had the pleasure of getting to know while you're doing the whole e-groups thing and the youth group stuff. But we moved to Charlotte back in 2016. It was definitely God that called us here. The last time we heard from God and didn't listen, he let us know that we did the wrong thing. We can get into that a little bit later. But, just really excited to be able to be here. Love the opportunity to get to know you and some of the other guys. Men's Outpost has been a phenomenal opportunity to get to really grow, but I'm just a guy who has my hands in way too many things. I like to stretch myself thin because if you're an Enneagram person, I'm a number 2, which is a helper. And so sometimes I can help to the detriment of my own self. But it's really
that.
Yeah.
Today.
So,
okay.
I'm learning
excited.
boundaries, learning how to moderate for myself. But just here, happy to be sitting here talking to you, man.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. You just said so much. You just gave me so much ammo. I just want you to know. Normally,
I knew that I did, and that's
okay.
okay.
You gave too much, and so I'm excited about this conversation now because I noticed that God starts speaking the second people start introducing themselves because there used to be this anxious, like, what do I say next? Well, after they introduce themselves, and he was like, do you trust me? And the day I started realizing that I didn't need notes or didn't need questions, he started speaking. And he was like, aha, there's where we're going. And I'm like, that's where we're going then. So man, you said a lot there. So.
Oh, and I reserved myself, by the way. So there's a lot more.
Of course.
We'll
of course. Yeah, no, let's bite off those small bites. So, You said I love how you said that God brought you here. Now, where did you come from again?
We were in Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were there, and let me go back.
Okay.
So that we can kind of get the whole everything that I talked about God calling us here, and we didn't listen before. We'll start from where we didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Arizona. This was 2000 and I want to say it was 2007.
Okay.
We were attending a great church down there. It was the first multi-campus church that we had ever attended, and we were at the pastor's whole series was called Fingerprints. And it was really about how God's fingerprint is on your life and how that can transfer and travel with you. And it was a really amazing thing. And my wife and I got in the car and we said, we're supposed to move back to Minnesota. There's things that we're supposed to do there. This was June 2007. We didn't go. That was the last we had that conversation. Well, you know what happened in 2008.
I do.
Right. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
Everybody knows what happened in 2008.
That's our fault.
Unless
We
you
didn't
weren't
listen to
born.
God,
Yeah.
and he, no. So I was out of work for 8 months. We had both of our cars taken away, and we were about a week from being homeless. We had no money coming in. We had amazing friends and family that also didn't have money or, extra resources that were dropping off groceries and gift cards for things and stuff at our house. We had family members that were helping us to pay for our rent because I could not get a job. I spent most of my years in the restaurant business, and I couldn't even get a job at a gas station. Nobody was hiring. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And where we lived, we were far enough away that there wasn't any public transportation. And so we had one vehicle left, and I was like, all right, God, Monday morning, this is a Saturday. Monday morning, I'm going to get up. I'm going to print off as many resumes as I possibly can. And with my car, I'm going to drive around just continually going out and out and out, handing out as many resumes as possible because I need a job.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning, we got home from church. We had some friends come over. We got a knock on the door. We're sitting there with friends. It's the repo man. He was very nice. We were very nice. He took the car back, and we're like, all right, God, so clearly we're not supposed to be here. Monday morning, we got a call from Jenna's, my wife. We got a call from her parents. They said, listen, we love that we've been able to help you out. We can't do it anymore. We can't send any more money. However, you guys can come and stay at our house. You just have to find a way to get up here. So that's going from Arizona to Minnesota.
Mm.
Yeah. So we realized that we made a giant mistake and said, okay, so we sold everything that we possibly could. What we couldn't sell, we fit into a very small U-Haul truck. And my wife and our daughter at the time, she was pregnant with my son, my wife and our daughter flew back to Minnesota, and I drove the U-Haul back and ended up in Minnesota with $50 in our pocket. But we got into town. I went, spoke to the manager at the grocery store, got a job immediately, walked in and got a job. And through that time, we saw why God wanted us in Minnesota. I'm not supposed to get emotional quite yet into this, but
it's cool. This is the place for it.
Right. 2014, my father-in-law passed away. Came in from raking the leaves. Said, I don't feel great. Laid down in the bed. And got a call from my mother-in-law. And we lived about a mile from them. So I was at their house in less than 90 seconds. I was breaking all the laws to get there. Ended up performing CPR on him until the EMTs got there. He didn't make it. But what we did have was 7 years that we got to enjoy time with her parents, that she didn't have a great relationship with them to begin with, so this gave us an opportunity to have that, for them to have a relationship with our grandkids. 2 years later, her mother passed away, ended up with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. We didn't know that was going to happen. We didn't see that what was going on and what God was trying to guide us to. But so we had to endure a lot of pain to receive the blessing that God wanted us to have. And if we would have listened, we would have had a little bit more time. So when God said, you're going to Charlotte, we immediately sold what we needed to sell. We sold our house. We heard from God in January of 2016. We were in Charlotte in June.
This time it was was almost like it was resonating to the point where it was like, yeah, we're not gonna wait around to see what.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. We learned how to be humble, which was challenging.
Yeah,
it's challenging. It's challenging to raise a family and know that there's nothing that you can do to provide for them, and 100% reliance on God.
for sure.
And there's a lot of people that get angry with God. They'd be like, why did you let this happen? And I was like, why did I screw up so much? Why did I walk away? Why did I hold myself back from you? I'm not doing that again. So it was a huge opportunity for me to really change my view on who God was to me.
Yeah, no, I think whew, wow. Okay.
So that's how we got here in Charlotte.
Okay. And I appreciate you giving me that. I appreciate you sharing that, because the part that really set on me so much is that you were like, humility sometimes comes through God and not through things that I can't speak for everybody, but I recognize that life never humbled me the way God did when he got my undivided attention. And you're right. It always, and I say it to my wife a lot, but I say, like, it's crazy when you're sitting in a situation and all you can do, as you just said, is know that God is in charge of the GPS at this point in life.
Yep.
And no matter how much you hit that GPS and you're ready for your next turn, or you're ready for him to, like, just, God, get me out of here. Mm-hmm. God, change the way this is looking. God, why would you do this? God, why am I so angry at you right now? And that might be when you met me in a space of time where I was angry at God, and I was showing up to church because I heard he would show up. Mm-hmm. And like most people, it's like on site. When I see you, it's on, because I'm so angry and I can't believe you break me like that.
Right.
So I resonate with that, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Because a lot of times I see this all the time with this podcast, but people are like, man, nobody's seen my story or nobody's lived my story. Now, being the host here, I keep reliving my story through men I sit across from, and I'm like, wow, that was heavy, man. But I'm really sorry about your father-in-law, because I'm guessing I know that she wasn't that close, but that was somebody that you probably had a great relationship with, or had grown a great relationship with.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't a close relationship when she was younger. That opportunity and seeing her dad with her kids and how he interacted with them and his love for our children really it changed her whole perspective on who her parents were. And the more that she got to know who he was, because he was an orphan that came over on a freighter ship from Germany at the age of 12 by himself.
Oh, wow.
To a country where he knew no one. He did not know the language. And there was extended family that was here that took him in. The wife didn't want him. The husband was the one that said, yeah, we'll take him in, because his family in Germany, it was right after the war. They had nothing. They had no way to be able to take care of him. And so, and then the husband passed away. So he's living with a person that never wanted him in a country that he doesn't know, speaking a language that speaking and trying to understand a language that he doesn't know. Right. And so getting a deeper insight into who he was really helped my wife to understand why he was the way that he was.
Sure.
And over the time of those 7 years, really just kind of awoken a deep appreciation for who he was.
Right.
And for why he did things. And so we've had an amazing opportunity. We've gone over to Germany twice now and have actually met up with some of his relatives and have spent time with them, getting to know them, and it's been absolutely amazing. So,
right.
Yeah, it was sad and hard that it was all of a sudden, but at the same time, I've experienced lots and lots of people that have gone the slow, miserable, painful route of death, and he didn't have to deal with that.
Right.
So, and we know he's up in heaven. We know he's enjoying his time.
That's always a comforting thing.
Yeah.
So what was your relationship like with your own father?
My relationship with my father it definitely changed when I was in college. There was a breaking point. I don't know if your son has ever had the opportunity to stand toe to toe with you, fists clenched, and just ready to throw down.
We've had a few of those.
But that was a turning point for my relationship with my dad. And so there's definitely been some hard things. There's some challenges that some relational things that he learned from his father that I'm sure his father learned, and it was passed down. And so that's something that I definitely have been very intentional about trying to break that in me to my sons. And it's a short temper. Short temper doesn't go very far, but it goes quick.
Yeah.
And so
good.
the good news is that he and I have gone through a lot of conversations, lots of forgiveness, and there's been a lot of healing through that. And we have developed a great relationship since then. After the time of, standing toe to toe, and it was over a girl. I wanted to get married, and they're like, just finish school first. And I was like, I'm getting married. And
I had times I've heard that story.
I had a realization that if my dad is ready to fight me, that maybe I need to just wait. And so all I said is, hey, to my fiance at the time, let's just wait. And that was over. She was done. She didn't want anything to do with it. So I found out years later there was a lot of issues that took place with her, with a lot of other people, and I was very grateful that I did not have to endure the burdens that would have come along if I did get married to her. So what my dad was doing was right. Might not have been done the right way.
Right.
But it saved me a lot down the road. So, yeah. But my relationship with my dad is great. He's someone that I have grown to I look up to him. He's a guy that does everything, knows how to do everything.
Right.
Anything that he puts his hands to, he can do.
Right.
And I feel like I've got that myself. It's just, I'm one of those guys that honestly, and I really appreciate what God has done for me in that, is that there really hasn't been much that I've put my hand to that I haven't been able to accomplish. If I choose to do something and follow through with it and put in the time and the dedication to do it, there isn't anything that I haven't been able to do, but I know that it's because of the grace of God. It has nothing to do with me or my ability, because I'm just me.
Right.
And so,
right.
But that I see that in my dad. And so there's oftentimes that when I called to talk to my dad, it's because he knows that I need something or have a question. And it's not like I need you to help me, but do you have some insight or wisdom for me? Right. He's not much of a phone talker. He doesn't really enjoy spending time talking on the phone, and he'll text me and stuff. But he really, when it's time to talk, we get whatever is out, and then it's usually a 5 to 10 minute conversation. Then we're done.
And a long talker.
But we have a good relationship. So.
No, that's good. That's good. I only ask because I recognize that the father figures in our lives, they play a huge part in, which I was originally going to get to, in like our Enneagrams. For people who are into the Enneagrams. I've never got around. I started to take it. I never finished it.
Dude, it's 180 questions.
Yeah, so I will never finish it. But you know what though? I'm not pressed on finishing it, and I will say this: the reason why is because I don't know about you, but I've recently been reading a book, really good book. It speaks to it's a book by Stephen Furtick that just came out.
Do the New You.
Do the New You, yeah. And it speaks to something that I've been saying a lot.
Okay.
And I recognize that, like, I could see a lot of my father in me. I could see a lot of my mother in me. Mm-hmm. I recognize that as much as at one time I didn't want to be anything like them, we end up being everything like them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you work so hard to try to run from this person you see in the mirror that looks a lot like them, right? That has certain things that look just like them. And so you run in the opposite direction of doing everything the opposite. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I used to look at like horoscopes and Enneagrams. Notice I said I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that the version of me today that I am,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping and praying that tomorrow I'm a little bit better than this guy today. And I think a lot of people like to approach it that way. And I remember there was a time where I would read my horoscope and it would describe me really good. Like, I'm like, man, who created this evil that knows me pretty well based on my birth year and in my birth month and stuff? And I'm like, but there was a lot of it. Like, let's just say if 3 out of 5 were right,
Mm-hmm.
guess what I did? I would align with those other 2 just because I didn't want to be too far off from it. And even though it really didn't fit my demeanor,
right,
it was just like, well, I mean, it got 3 out of the 5 right, so maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I need to align with that, you know? Like, it probably knows me better than I know myself.
Yeah.
I gave a lot of power to that because I felt like it couldn't be wrong if it's gotten 3 out of 5 things about me pretty right. And I also noticed that it was always taking me further and further away from like who I really was, you know? And so I've always been worried that like, man, after doing 180 of these questions, if I can actually sit down and do that, like, will it sandbox me in?
And that's the thing is, honestly, a lot of people will take that and go, oh, that's who you are. And they just lockstep, automatic. Oh, you're that? Okay, well, I know that I can do this or I can't do this around you. But all it really is it's an opportunity for people to get a better understanding of, hey, how can we be compatible? How can we work together? I can know, your strengths and your weaknesses a little bit better. And obviously each person is different. So you can have a bunch of 2s or 5s or 7s and line them all up, and they're going to be completely different, even though they're going to have some of the similar personality traits. And so I don't think that if you use it right, it's not something to define you. It's something that can help you even understand yourself a little bit better, because it's, when it's good, hey, these are some amazing things that you can accomplish. When it's bad, here's some things that you can do to really sabotage yourself and can see the ugliest parts of you. And I really recognized all of that and went, okay, so it's not just me. It's people of this type that can experience these things. So there are other people walking around with those same thoughts, feelings, behaviors, mannerisms. But there are ways to be able to help yourself and to help others to be able to go, hey, maybe we can try it like this because, there's different opportunities. There's ways to see things differently. We just did Oliver. Oliver went through it, and Drew went through it just now, like 2 days ago. They went through and took the 180 questions. We asked them back and forth, and my wife and I went through and filled it all out. It's quite interesting to see, even as a young kid, because, Oliver's 14. I didn't do this until I was in my 20s.
Right.
To really see the opportunities that are in front of him, and he's like, I don't know if that's my personality. I don't know if that's who I am. And I was like, but take a minute. And I think that he's always limited himself because he's the youngest, and he's always seen himself as trying to play catch up. And he came in as a number 5, which, if you know anything about, it's the investigator, right? So it's the person that likes to dig in, that likes to dig deep, but also can be subject to isolation. Not because they don't want to be around people, but because sometimes they just don't know how to interact with people because their brains are working on a whole different level. Like number 5s are Albert Einstein, Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. A lot of these people that will seem a little recluse and a little weird and a little standoffish that are able to accomplish great things.
Right.
And so I was like, Oliver, God's got something for you.
For sure.
So,
of course.
This doesn't do anything other than just go, hey, you have an opportunity to be able to push yourself a little bit more, and it's really helped him out. And so he's excited about the opportunities in front of him because he wants to get into coding and he loves that stuff. So
I'd really be interested to see if he took that same test 10 years from now,
right,
what his score would be. Because I noticed that he said back to you, I just don't think that's who I am. And I've learned that a lot of times people can tell me, I can see certain things about you.
Right.
I can read certain things about you. And they'll tell me, and they can write it up or whatever. And deep down inside, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but that's not who I am. I didn't know why. I just knew that wasn't really who I was. I mean, like, I get it. That's a great description of me, but that's not. And I feel like that was a long time ago. That was me calling out to me to let me know that, no, that's who you've been because you needed to survive. And so know that survival doesn't turn off when you're answering questions. You can go through 108 questions in survival mode,
right,
and answer it exactly how you have to answer, because this is just the life you're living. And so maybe I will take the test because, I can see myself like gauging, like saying, okay, wow, like back then or 10 years ago, I was this now, and I just want to see, if nothing else, I think it would tell me a lot about my growth.
Right. Yeah.
And how I'm growing, because I have committed to being a lifelong learner. I'm going to be a lifelong grower. I'm going to continue to challenge myself. Unfortunately, but so fortunate, I get to continue to step into uncomfortable situations. I sometimes hate that. I really do. I know sometimes I may make it look easy, but it sucks a lot as I get ready to step into another uncomfortable situation in this spring. And right now, I just told somebody today, I was like, I'm considering like maybe pulling a Jonah on this situation. And then God set you down here and reminded me that everybody doesn't get swallowed by a whale. Sometimes they lose things. And now I'm sitting here like, wow, God, that was for me for sure. Wow. But yeah, I literally told somebody today, like, I was like, I don't know if I'm even going, man. I'm not feeling it, man. Life is too heavy right now. And every time I go up there, I feel like I'm a pregnant woman carrying something that I got to birth, that I don't want to birth, that I don't want to carry.
But look at all those beautiful little children that you have given to others. All those things that you've spoken, all the words that you have shared have touched people.
For sure.
It's not about you.
You're right.
I mean,
No.
Honest,
You are so
anymore.
right.
It's not about you. It's not about me. But it's what is God going to be able to do through you being there, through the words that you're sharing, through your heart, through your testimony, through your care, through whatever it is that you're bringing up there. So, I mean,
I'm glad you're just thinking about like e-groups with the youth. I was thinking about like large e-group with the men, but that's a lot heavier. That's way harder than the e-group with the kids, man, because I recognize that when you're sitting down with them, you see you in each one of them in a certain manner. Like, I've had conversations with some of them where it's just like, wow, what could I do if I've gone back and nurtured Robbie? What can I do for their inner child before they lose themselves so far in who they have to be, so they can be accepted, so they can be liked, so they can be worthy.
right.
And I was eventually going to get there with you, even because I recognized that a question that kept popping into my head, I told you, man, they just start to rain down on me, was, what have you done for you lately that shows you that you love you?
It's a lot of me.
I know that is, but in all of that, me is important.
Oh, of course. Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
And I will say that there's definitely been, this last couple of months, there's been a season of not doing a lot of stuff. That whole, what do you do that makes your heart come alive?
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of that lately. There's been a lot of, I mean, we took a big family trip, took the whole family, went to Europe for 2 weeks. That was a lot, you know, and then you come back to, in the arena that I work in, woodworking and custom cabinetry and all of that. Sometimes, you know, that end of year business, it slows down because people are spending their money on Christmas presents and they're spending their money on gifts and things of that nature. And so you have to wait until some of that money starts to come back into circulation before all of a sudden you get called for work. So not having work for a couple of months, things slow down. There's less of a desire to go out and go, oh, you know, I don't have anything to do. Let's just go play. I'm just going to go do something for me.
Right.
Makes it really hard when you're like, oh, but you know, what else can be done? Or when I've got a house that it was built in 1978 that hadn't been touched by the previous homeowners, that everything is breaking. Everything is falling apart. It's like, we bought this house, we're like, oh, it's amazing. And now we're really seeing all the things. And we love home ownership and we're happy to be homeowners and we're happy to be able to take care of our house. But when the whole thing, you know, just turns around and you're like, oh, we need to do all of that right now.
Right.
It gets a little overwhelming. So
for sure.
I've put me on pause. Honestly, the one thing that just really brings me the most joy, and I'm going to be going and doing that this Saturday, is pickleball. I love playing pickleball. I love it. Gentle, mild competition that gets me out being active, hanging out with a bunch of guys. It's a blast.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to that, and I wish that I took a little more time to do more of that, but wherever I get it, I enjoy it.
Right.
It's always a good time. So,
so for people who don't know you, like Isaac kind of downplayed it. I love it. That was him being modest. So he loves you. You love the competitiveness. Matter of fact, I haven't seen you lose yet, by the way. And I know I just put a bullseye on you. So every guy.
Oh, you weren't watching at the last one. No, I played terribly.
Oh, pickleball?
Terribly, yeah.
Oh, I was about to say. I mean, the last thing I watched you in was did the men's bowling.
Yeah.
I didn't even try. Right.
That was a fluke, man. That was
right.
a fluke. I haven't bowled in like 10 years either. That was the first time I bowled in such a long time. Every guy that's there,
it was there. It's like, I suck that much. He hasn't bowled in 10 years. Unbelievable. But no, I mean, I noticed that, like, I always like to try to, like, figure out where my competitive drive comes from. And mine's not that, like, competitive. I don't know. But I always, when I see different men, like, I see the full range of men. I've seen men that are so competitive that it's like you're watching the NFL. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
Like, bro, it's going to be okay. And then there's your guys who are like, yeah, it's whatever, man. And it's like, I mean, you don't have to play if you don't want to. I mean, it's so whatever that it's like, you don't have to. You don't have to show up. I mean, like, don't feel pressure to to even do it.
Yeah.
Like,
I've definitely had to calm down my competitive nature because it was aggressive. It was definitely aggressive. I know that I get it from my mom's side of the family. They're all competitive all the time. It doesn't matter if you're their niece or nephew or their cousin, they're going to bring it hard. So you better show up. But, and so playing sports as a kid, I mean, I played basketball, I played baseball, I played soccer, I played football in college, I played volleyball in college, I played basketball in college. It was go.
Whoa.
I know, and I'm short, but it was a lot of fun. I'm short and I'm white, but I still played, and it was a lot of fun, and I did well.
But the thing is you had to bring it though, as you just said.
Absolutely.
Like, you had to bring it. Like, there was,
I was missing lots of advantages.
So right. I heard that as you were explaining that. Like, okay, so like he did the calculations. Negative this. Okay, so I have to add more points to this, and I'm going to show up higher in that.
Yeah. When I could stand between the 3-point and half. Center field, center court. Sorry guys, my brain's all messed. I've been working hard today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put all the sports together. But no, I mean, I could drop threes, but because I had to stand outside and shoot, and I didn't miss a free throw. You know, it was certain things. 5'9", my senior year in high school, I could dunk.
Oh wow!
I was like, I'm not gonna let my height determine what I can do on the court. And so it was a lot of weights and a lot of working out and a lot of strategies. And when I got into football in college, I never played football in high school. I don't know why college wanted me to play football, but they're like, hey, we'll take anybody. Our team sucks that bad. And they're doing all the tryouts and you're running your 40s and you're doing your stuff. They made me measure my vertical 8 times because they said, oh, we mismeasured. You took an extra step. We didn't get it right. Something looks funky. Well, the guy running the tape measure currently had the highest vertical at the school. He was 6'3", and he did not like that I had jumped higher than him.
I was just about to say, that's not going to fly.
My first 5 jumps were 42 inches.
Wow.
Which for a little guy
off of just like straight ground up.
Yeah. It was a one step.
One step.
Yeah, one step. So not like some of these guys now that you see that stand there and they leap into the air and they're hitting like 13 feet. Those guys are crazy. But after the 8th jump, I hit 38 inches. I was exhausted. I'm just having to keep jump and jump and jump. And they're like, okay, we'll take that one.
Right.
His was 36. He was mad.
Right.
He was mad that I was, but I'm not the fastest. I'm not the, wasn't the tallest. I wasn't the whatever. So I had to find ways to be competitive. I had to be wiry. I had to be quick. Well, competitive nature brought into marriage.
I was about to go there, but thank you. I was just about to ask.
Board games. There was games that my wife and I were like, we cannot play that game, nor can we play it against each other because we would just drive home silent or mad, just fuming because the game didn't go how we wanted it to, and we both wanted to win. She was a gymnast 13 years of her life, and so for her, competition was real too. So we both had to just go, is it worth it? Really, is this silly game worth being mad at each other? And so both of our competitive drives kind of just dialed back, which I think is why I haven't played a lot of sports as an adult, just because it was like I didn't want to bring out the ugly again, and I found a way to be able to play competitively and have fun and not have it carry over. The only person that I'm most competitive with is myself, and if things go sour, I get mad at myself and I think about what I did wrong and how I could have done better. But at the end of the day, it's a silly game.
You know what? I don't even think I need to be here, man, because you're like, you're already there. You're jumping on it immediately. I was about to add, I was first going to start with, so how does that look now, like as a married man? Then I was going to go, so where have you stashed it away at? and then you hit it where it was like, okay, well, like now I have to be careful of letting it come back out again. And it's like, oh, okay. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you literally hit the full gambit. Yeah. So like, I think the last question I was probably going to ask is like, so then, what do you get to do that you feel safe doing, or have you even faced the what is it? I love to always seen the movie Old School, where he went back to school and he started drinking, the older guy, and he turned back into Frank the Tank,
right?
And it was like he had a flashback of who he was at one time that he had let back out again. Like Here he is, and I always wonder like, where do men hide the version of them that they're like, I don't want to be that guy anymore? Like, where do we stash him away? What is it that brings that guy back out for everybody to see sometimes?
I have a different view on that though.
Okay.
I don't think that it's hidden away for some people. I think that if you are thoughtful, if you are a little bit more introspective and you allow yourself to grow, you grow out of it. You do. You grow out of it. There are definitely people that they are stuck in their high school days. Their best days are their high school days, and they still see themselves they're on the 50-yard line and they're running, and that's their life. Their life. They still live in the same town that they grew up in, and they still wear their Letterman jacket even though they are 45 years old. Grow up.
I've never met him.
Well, small Midwest towns, man. But so really for me, it's been an opportunity to grow out of it. I can still be competitive, but it's for a different reason. It doesn't have that same ugly drive. I don't have to get nasty and mean to be able to have fun.
Right.
And so it's just an opportunity to go, how can I use my competitiveness to be good at what I'm doing, but not have it be something that now I'm losing friends because I'm so competitive and get so angry and, you throw and stuff. Grow up.
Right.
Stop chucking stuff. You don't need to.
Right.
It's not, even though I get mad on the pickleball court and I want to throw my racket down. It's not worth it.
Okay. So then I will speak for the people who are with their 40, 50-year-old dad or whatever, who are like, okay, he said grow up, and you are 50 now. So what happened?
Right.
When did you miss the growth spurt? Did you miss the turn? why is it that you haven't grown up yet? Because you described one version of one, but there are a lot of people.
Well, there's a lot.
Yeah, there are. Okay, I was trying to be nice.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot. And now you can grow up in one area and still be a complete child in another area.
For sure. Oh, yes, very true.
So
very
even
true.
though I've grown up in those areas, in some of that, in seeing where that was a negative, there's still areas that I don't think are negative, and so I act silly. I'm goofy.
For sure. For sure.
Cracking jokes.
Same
Sometimes when my 14-year-old has to sit there and shake his head because like, Dad, really? Do you need to make another poop joke? Really? Do you need to go there?
You're like,
he doesn't like it. And I'm like, it's funny.
Right.
And he's like, no, it's not. So, there's definitely areas that I still need to be able to grow up.
Hey, you said God will humble you? No, that there's no humbling like the humbling of a son. I mean, they will humble you in what you wear and how you dress and how you talk. And I'm okay with being me because it lets me know that I am growing, but that I'm taking a piece of me that I still enjoy being with me into the future. I'm not going to fully just become this old prune where I'm just like not fun anymore. I'm mature and just way mature. Yeah, who wants to hang out with that guy?
No.
Nobody.
No,
I don't. But no, I think that's important. You're right. I've seen both sides of it, and sometimes I'm always thinking to myself, at what point does a man? I won't even say grow up because I used to love to use that, like grow up, and I realized they did grow up. Okay, so then what point do they need to turn back and and do something because they're grown based on age, but they're not mature,
right? Based
on like the growth that I'm challenging myself with in this time. So I don't know. I always struggle with that. I notice that God continues to like take me on little journeys and point out little things to me where I'm like, oh, do you ever experience that? Where like he makes you like look at yourself. Okay.
Of course, all the time.
Okay. I just need to make sure I wasn't by myself in that. I haven't heard enough people ever really tell me like.
Well, and I, even just with you talking about that, I think that, if you use a knife and you never sharpen it and you use it over and over, it's going to get dull. It's never going to be able to perform any better. It's never going to be able to do anything more. It's actually just going to get worse. And it's the same knife. It's gotten older.
Right.
But it's not taking an opportunity, or it hasn't been given an opportunity to be sharpened, to grow, and to, my analogy's losing itself.
No, that's really good.
But really, what I was trying to get to is the iron sharpening iron. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the guys that you see that are not maturing how you feel like someone of that age should, more than likely probably isn't surrounded with people that are challenging them, that are speaking into them. They're not doing what they need to do to be able to grow in the way that they are able to grow. They might not see it. So they might not have somebody in their life that's speaking into them to go, hey, you could be better for you. Not for anybody else, but you could be better for you.
For sure.
And so I think it's really important for especially guys to be able to have these real conversations, to be able to talk about feelings, and to be able to get involved and engage and challenge each other, to be able to grow, to mature, and to be better, to be the iron sharpening iron that the Bible calls us to be for each other.
For sure.
So that's why this is really important. These opportunities to sit down and talk, the opportunities at Outpost to share and to be vulnerable and to be open gives us all opportunities to grow and mature in different ways, but also to make those few steps closer to being who God has really called us to be.
For sure. No. And I'll even go a step further to say, and I love when men will come to the table, and it's one thing for us to begin to feel what we've been carrying, feel what we've been ignoring, feel what we've been just kind of like saving for a rainy day when we have time to face it. But I can always appreciate when a man will not only feel it, but will express it.
Right.
Because I noticed that you sat here and you were like, dang, I'm already, but no, I recognize that not enough of us give ourselves the permission and the space to say, you know what? I can tell you this, but I would be lying to myself if I hold back the expression of this. We are so good at expressing. Think about it. You're gonna play pickleball this Saturday. When you win, you're gonna show all the expression.
Of course.
And you're not gonna go above and beyond. Maybe you will. Maybe you will start to play the guitar on it and all that and do the full. I don't know what your dance is, but regardless, we express that to the full. Mm-hmm. But when we're sad, when we're hurt, when we're frustrated, when we've lost control, when we've been humbled, it is hard for us to give ourselves permission to say, that hurt so bad that I need to express that by allowing the steam to come off me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we'll kind of recognize it, but we'll all right, man.
Right.
Move on. Like,
emotions are nothing to be embarrassed about. We all have them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's the whole men don't cry. That's not true. We all know that's not true. Real men cry, and it's okay.
For sure.
So
yeah. No, that's facts. Yeah. And I appreciate any man who understands that it's like, yeah, okay, well, I can show you better than I can tell you. And as I like to normally do, I tell people, I offer my vulnerability a lot, not hoping for an exchange of a gift. Like, okay, I'll give you my vulnerability if you exchange yours for me. But I recognize that sometimes we can all day tell a person that vulnerability is a strength, and your emotions and expressing them are important because that's what strong men do. But it's not until strong men start to do it that men start to say, oh, okay, that didn't look too hard. Mm-hmm. That didn't look like it caused him too much anguish. And he's still a man. And he still stands on his own too. Right. And he's still a provider, because I can't be a provider and emotional. Those two don't go together, allegedly. But just recognizing that, like, I don't know. I've been in this funk where lately I've been seeing so much of like how this world wants men to look, mm-hmm. and how this world feels like men should carry themselves, and what masculinity looks like. And then people like to put the T word on the front of masculinity and make it seem like it's like the two are synonymous and they go together when they don't. You can be a toxic person. Right. And you can be a man, and you can match them up. Right. And you can make masculinity look really bad. But that doesn't equate to all men. Right. Because there are a lot of us out here who can see past it and say, like, I can't carry that pose, man. It looks impressive. A lot of you are doing it, but that requires me to show myself that I don't really love me, because I gotta bottle up a lot of me to be that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think back to one of the things that you had actually said is, what am I doing for me? I've actually, in this last, I would say, month, instead of going out and doing something, I've actually given myself permission to step back from stuff, which has been huge, because as a helper, wanting to take on more, it doesn't matter about me, I'm going to do that for whoever. I've actually gone, you know what? It's time to step back from some things. I've got my hands in a lot of stuff. Custom cabinetry is my job. I've been making sourdough for the family for the last 2 years. I've been making kombucha and selling it for the last 7 years. I'm a sound engineer at church, plus a dad, plus a husband, plus everything else. So there was a lot of me that was getting stretched thin. Mm-hmm. And I just, at the beginning of the year, I was like, I need a break. So what I've done for me is I've given myself space. I stopped doing the kombucha for now, just because it was less about for the benefits of the family, and I was feeling stressed about it, and it was trying to hurry up and make it so that I could fill the store shelves and I could get it sent off to the doctor and I could do this and that, and it became very overwhelming and not fun, and more of just a burden.
Sure.
And so I said, you know what, it's time to step back from that. And haven't really been doing the sourdough because the whole family's been doing carnivore since January. So I haven't had to make bread, but that hasn't been a burden for me to have to go, hey, now I've got to get up and I've got to, I'm up until midnight baking bread, or I'm up at 6 a.m. trying to get bread baked for the family. So I've really just stepped back from a lot of things. We started the year with doing the 30-day shred, which is the Bible in 30 days.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Jenna and I did that together. That was a lot, but it was really good. It allowed me to kind of reshift my focus on where my time is important being spent. And I never was really a reader. My mom was my literature teacher in school. And so to tell me to go and read a book, I was just like, nope. I'll watch a TV show, I'll watch a movie on it, but I'm not going to sit down and read. Well, I learned as I got older that I'm an auditory learner. I learned through listening so much better than I learned through reading. And I actually used to help my daughter with her homework. We'd sit on the couch and I'd read her stuff. I would fall asleep. There's something about, and I don't know what it is, but there's something about some people with the black and white and trying to focus and read, it does something with their brain and it'll put me asleep. So I didn't like reading because I could never stay focused on it because it always made me tired. But I could sit and listen to somebody talk for 3 hours and regurgitate it 4 days later, almost verbatim. So for me, it was just that it was a whole thing. And so I always said, I'm not a reader. I don't like reading. Reading is boring. Give me a movie, give me a book.
Right.
And I found audiobooks after podcasts. So listen to podcasts and I'm like, okay, because I love to learn. I want to just keep learning, just keep putting more stuff in. And so last year I ended up with 30 books that I had listened to over the course of the year, which for me was more than I've read, outside of school ever. And so this year my goal is to hit 50, and I just finished my 7th book so far for the year. So
Audio
that's
book.
what I'm doing for me. Audiobook.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because
I
love that though.
Yeah.
I love everything you just said, because you just basically said I learned to show myself love by learning to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And no is hard for people who like to help, please, or serve others.
Right.
That means that I am telling you that I care about my sanity more than I care about what I have done for you in the past, or what I've done for others in the past. And I know this looks bad, and I know this probably is not like me, but it's a step of me taking time to say, I need to pause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need to pause. And that's huge.
Yeah.
As a person who always cared about how I take care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely a people pleaser thing. It came from abandonment. And if I can please you, then what? You won't leave.
Right.
But if I say no, if I even think to say no, like those thoughts start to come in and like, they're going to leave now.
Right.
They're going to leave.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I've always been scared of that. So I got to a point where I realized that the person who will never leave is him.
Mm-hmm.
The other person that'll never leave, if you'll stop abandoning him, is you.
Mm-hmm.
And so those two people are never going to abandon you.
Right.
So if you can put time in to make sure that you're spending time with God and you're giving yourself time and space for you, then it's like, that's helped my mental health. That's helped my physical health.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's given me the space to really put back into my family, where like I was doing so much for everybody else. And I know
Right.
it looks that way now too. I know you're sitting over there like, don't I see you on Wednesdays, Sundays, now Thursdays I'm doing something. And there comes a point where I recognize that I also told God, like, I'm available.
Right.
And I know that he's the only person that can strengthen me and fill me back up when I feel like I'm depleted and empty.
Right.
And I have not found anybody else that can do that unless you, I mean, I can give my wife a lot of credit, but
No,
yeah.
no, I love my wife to pieces, but there are days that I feel like she did not fill up my cup.
Right. No. I mean, like it's true. It's that like, and the truth is that when you turn the table around, I also sometimes realize that it takes me to model it in order for my wife to realize that it's okay,
right,
to say like, no, because even tonight there was a moment where like I recognized, like she was sitting there and she was like, man, I've been, she always talks about how she struggles with being a good mom. And now we have a dog. And she was like, I'm being even a bad dog mom. And I'm like, you gotta stop doing that, thinking that it's what you do, how you show up makes you a better mom.
right.
And I was stuck in that. The same with the dad, or employee, because I feel like a lot of times men don't pride themselves in that. Like our bar, we already feel like the world has set our bar of dad already low enough. So we just gotta like be available and act like check dad.
Right. Yeah.
When that's really not what it looks like to be a dad. And I'm learning that.
Right.
Like I'm learning that if that's all it is, then man, I can expect to see me in him when I need him to take off and be him.
Right.
And so I don't know, it's just a constant struggle that I'm realizing, like, okay, I've gotta be okay with saying no.
Mm-hmm.
And know that I think that's how you came into my life, of knowing that like sometimes when you start to say no, or when you start to say I can't do this anymore,
mm-hmm.
God starts to put people in your life
right.
that sharpen you, as you were saying earlier.
Yep.
And you realize, wow, I'm sharp now. Like back then I got so used to being a dull knife that it was normal.
Right. Yeah.
But now I'm a sharpened knife.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how different we can feel when we're at our prime. When God has us where he wants us, and where we're fully aligned with him, and we're allowing him to do what he wants through us. How much energy that can come from that. And my wife and I, we talk because my whole family serves on production at church. And so, I take usually about 4 Sundays off a year, and people are like, whoa, that's a lot. You're working so much. And really, truly, I think that the people that get burnt out on serving might not have the right mindset of why they're there.
Ooh, sheesh, that was good. That was so rich. Okay, all right. So like continue to go on, because I would love to hear this. This is good.
If we're there to serve our Father, we're there to help his other children be more in line with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're there for community. We're there for growth. We're there for these amazing opportunities that we have. And if you're getting burnt out by giving to God,
mm-hmm.
why is that taking place? Why are you in that space? Okay. What's not in line for you to be able to go to God and to serve him and be full, because he will keep you full. He will recharge your batteries. It doesn't have to be,
for sure,
I have to go do this again. Well, maybe you need to fix your focus.
Okay, wow, you just opened up a whole door that I didn't know we would go into today, but like, okay, wow. Okay. So I started to get those same questions when I started to serve. Like, well, you can't serve every Sunday, and you can't do this because we don't want you to burn out. And I started thinking, I was like, how does that look? Like, does that actually happen? And then I realized exactly what you just said, that like there are different reasons why people are serving.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not to like point anybody out, because sometimes people don't even know that that's my reasoning.
Right.
But I recognize that like there's the person that serves because they believe that the more they do, God will love them more and will continue to love them because they are showing that I am lovable.
Right.
And I have always been taught that in order to be loved, I have to show you that I am lovable and I am worthy of your love.
Right.
And so the way they view the love that God gives is the same way they've always viewed the love they've received, and that I had to earn it.
Right.
And
Value
they haven't
through
reframed
worth.
it. It is, yes. They haven't reframed it. And so they get burnt out trying to appease just a new person now.
Right.
That they're doing it with the wrong heart posture, as you said. And then you got the others who were like, wait, can you get burnt out? Like,
Right.
I didn't know that was a thing. Like, the way I see it, if God's called me to do this, then he's giving me everything I need to do this. Like, he's equipping me with everything I need. And trust me, there's been times when I'm like, God, really? Like, so let's be real now. I haven't taken the Enneagram, but I know you looked at it and you know what mine looks like. So, like, why would you call me to do this right now? And he's like, it's because I've already given you everything you need to do and be exactly what I see you to look.
Right.
So notice I said I see you because it's not what we think sometimes.
Oh,
we
for
go,
sure.
You're like,
For sure.
okay, I'm sure there's a lot of a story about that for sure, but like there's so much where it's like, yeah, no. See, when I called you to do that, you started to brainstorm on how it would look for you. Like you started to try on stuff like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look good in that. I'm gonna be, and he's like, okay, so you're gonna be really upset because your expectations have started to outrun me. Mm-hmm. And you're up here and I'm back here, and what I was thinking was this, and you're thinking all of that. And it's like, but at the end of the day, you're right. If your heart posture isn't right, it burns you out.
Oh yeah.
It wears you out. You start to make up excuses of why I can't make it.
Yeah.
You start to wonder, why am I doing this again?
Yeah. Why do I get up at 5 o'clock every Sunday morning?
Yeah.
You know, before anybody else is there. Why do I do it? Well, I look forward to it, man. I do. It's one of the best parts of my week. And a lot of that realization came through watching our kids. And our youngest, Oliver, love him to pieces, but church was never something that he really enjoyed, even hanging out at eKids. And I think part of it is his personality. He doesn't connect well with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. He's basically hyper emotional. So he's very high functioning emotional, like highly emotional, highly sensory overload, very easy to get overwhelmed. And large people, loud spaces, you know, all that stuff. It's just like, he's like, it's too much.
Right.
And so he didn't even really enjoy hanging out with the kids because there's a lot of screaming and running around and crazy. And he's just like, no, let's follow the rules. Let's be quiet. They told us to be quiet. Let's just sit still and just be.
For sure.
And so he was like, I don't want to go to church. I don't want to go. Can I stay home? I don't feel well. And then as soon as he got the opportunity to serve, they gave him the opportunity early. He was 12. And they're like, normally we don't let people into production at this age because, you know, just the ability to do. But because Jenna was willing to serve, he was able to get in that door. And he's like, church every week. I want to go. I can't wait to be there. I can't wait to serve. And it's not just to hang out and goof off, but he's listening to the sermon. He likes to pay attention. He likes to be involved, and he loves to give. And all of my kids are that way. I mean, he's been serving 2 years nonstop, and every special event that there's an opportunity, all of my kids, they would much rather be able to serve at church than go to a party or go to a this or that, because it fills them up, because their heart is in the right space.
For sure.
And so that's been an amazing opportunity for us, which is one of the main reasons that we were so like, as soon as God said, you're going here, we're like, okay, we're doing this because we know not only is God calling us to it, but it's going to be so much better for our kids to get a better understanding of what church can be and how to develop a better relationship with God at such a young age. And we've really seen that take place.
That's good. No, I think that's important because childhood has a way of like either making or breaking it.
Oh, for sure.
You're either leaving out of high school and you're like on fire about God, or you're leaving out of high school and you're like, once I don't live here anymore, I'm never going to church again. And not to say that we don't all have our life situations that occur that make you just say, all right, like now I'm questioning the thoughts I've always heard. Like, does God actually care?
Right.
Is he actually here? Does he actually fight for me? Is he actually in this right now? Does he see what's happening? Those happen. But I think when you have that foundation, people always love to say, like, your mom put the foundation there. And I'm like, yeah, but I walked away from it. Yeah, but you can walk away from a foundation, but the foundation's still there. Even if you walk away from it, she put the foundation there. And I can't discredit that because she did. There were a lot of people that played a part in putting the foundation there.
Absolutely.
I walked away from it, but the foundation was there.
Right.
They put that there. It was cement.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I took a 2-year hiatus from, being smart.
That's what we're calling it, being smart. Somebody's gonna be offended by that, man. You might give me cancer, man.
All right.
It's okay. It's so true.
I'm not mad at it.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, I mean, I did. I left. I grew up in church. My parents were on the worship team. At the age of 10, I started playing drums on the worship team. Was singing and involved, and we were all there. And I went to a private Bible college, and that's where I met some of the craziest people that led me the farthest astray, and that continued after I left Bible college. I went to culinary school in Texas, and my roommates were crazy, and I was like, I didn't even think about it. Like, it was just like, I'm not going to church, I'm not reading my Bible, and it wasn't even a thought. It wasn't like, did God leave me? I never thought about
yeah,
God.
Right.
Just didn't. And all of a sudden was definitely going downhill real fast, and it wasn't pretty. But then I met my wife, and I was like, I need to change, because if I don't change, I don't get her, which at the time was the catalyst. But now, sitting here talking to you, seeing where God has led life, it's been amazing. So even if you get stupid for a little bit, God's still there.
Sure.
He'll welcome you back, open arms.
Aren't we so appreciative that he's still there? Like, I can truly say I'm so appreciative he never just kind of said, well, I think we lost him.
Right.
I'm now, I don't know why I've never had that thought. Like imagine if we got so far out there that God was just like, no way to bring him back. Think he's done. Think he's too far gone. Like, no matter how much it felt like he had abandoned the situation, and I truly felt like, dude, you abandoned me a long time ago. But no, he was there in I can look back and see him in every situation where it was like, wow, you continued to chase after me. Like, you were there when that situation happened where I thought I was going to break.
Yeah.
And then you were there when I did break. But you were always there. And when I broke, you put me back together. But you didn't just put me back together. Like, you put me back together with the pieces of me that were always there.
Right.
I can't get it out of my head now. The version of me you knew, not the version of me that I created. Mm-hmm. Because you knew me already. Right. I'm going to be stuck with that this whole year, man. Like, that's going to...
Sounds like that's getting edited into the outpost, folks.
Yeah. That, man, like the fact that he knew us. And so that's been rich, man. That's been so rich. But, yeah, it's crazy. I'm sitting there thinking about your sons now, and I'm like, wow, it's like you're running it back, but in a way to where you probably already seen like how it goes. Like, you're running it back. You're running the play, but you know that there may come a time where they may say, I want to try something else out. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like that creates a space for more intimacy between God and me because it allowed me to see what it was like when I wasn't looking to him and I had lost that intimacy. But now I realize how important and how much I need that intimacy of like, okay, that's crazy. Like, I really thought for a good while that I could do this without you.
Right.
And I thought I was doing so good.
Yeah.
And life had its moments, but it wasn't all bad.
Right.
Until it was bad. Until it was really bad.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is it was bad all along. I just couldn't see it until it was really, really bad. Mm-hmm. And then it was just like I couldn't miss it.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, as parents, it doesn't matter how much we want it for our kids. It doesn't matter how much we tell them that they need it.
Facts.
Because it's not our relationship with God for them, right? They don't develop a relationship with God through our relationship with God, where it's like, oh, you're just always going to be attached to God through us. They're going to have to find it on their own. They're going to have to develop that intimacy and that relationship with him on their own. And sometimes it takes being stupid. Sometimes it takes somebody to go, oh, I've got this. Oh, no, I don't. And so I don't feel like it's, you know, I grew up with a mom that was on me every day. You read the Bible? Did you pray to God? Did you read the Bible today? You praying to... And I was just like, I stopped calling her. I was like, I'm tired of hearing it. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Right.
But now to see where my relationship with God is at, and to see the choices that I've made, and to see his hand move on a regular basis, and going through what we did back in 2007, 2008, and all of those things really, really changed the way that I see God's hand move in my life. Really changed every perspective. Now, if things aren't working right, if I don't have work that's coming up or whatnot, it's not, God, why did you leave? Why are you making this struggle for me? Why, you know, it's okay, God, what do you want me to learn in this time of quiet?
Yeah.
What do you want me to grow? How can I grow? What can I do differently? How can I get closer to you in this time where I've got space? And then when I'm busy, how can I use that to help me get through to the next season? You know, there's so many opportunities that God provides us with. There's so many things that he does for us and blesses us and challenges us and helps us to grow that people look at as such a negative, and they're like, oh, why is he making me go through this?
Right.
No. What is he carrying you through to get to where he wants you to be?
For sure.
Yeah. What is he preparing you for? Because a lot of the times when you're going through challenges and struggles, it's not because you did something wrong. It's teaching you how to get through those things because something else is coming and he wants you to be prepared for that.
Sure.
Or he wants you to really recognize the blessing that he is providing you with. And so sometimes having not to then get blessed really shows you who he is and how much he cares about you. So, yeah, it's been crazy. Life has been crazy with ups and downs. And I mean, I could not have work. I could not be doing woodworking, and that doesn't matter. I don't care what I do. I don't care what God has for me to do. It really, truly does not matter whether it's flipping burgers, selling cars, making cabinets, picking up dog poop. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, he is my provider.
For sure.
And so however he wants me to get where he wants me to go, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here to serve him, to listen, to give, to share, to, you know, whatever.
I love that perspective. Man, I love that. I love that because I was telling somebody recently that, like, I was like, and you said it earlier, it's not about you. like and I always say, I tell myself, don't take this the wrong way, but you had your choice of who you want to serve. And when you gave your life to Christ, know that you now serve him, and what he's doing in your life is for your good. Right. So let's just go ahead and put that on the table.
Right.
It's going to be for your good and for his glory.
Right. Oh, by the way, you died.
Okay, I was going to get to that. I didn't want to just shake them right. Man, you
I
just
don't pull punches.
I was about to say you ripped the Band-Aid off.
I don't pull punches. It doesn't help.
like, by the way, you died. Wait. Let's go get to that. Yes.
Sorry.
What is it? Who says it? Then there's the bad news. You have to die to you. You have to die to who you've been. You have to die to the version of you that always says things like, well, this is just who I am. Well, guess what? He doesn't need that version of you. Right. Like because he's going to prune, he's going to work on, he's going to stretch, and he's going to work on sanctifying that version of you that's stuck and this is just who I am. And it's a part of the process. Right. Not for him, but for your good. Like you said, it seems very, very hard when you're in that press and you're being pressed and you're being stretched and you're seeing everything from an angle of like, what did I do to deserve this? Instead of like you said, what did I do to deserve this? Right. What did I do? Like, God, what you see in me to take me down through here. Yeah. And it sucks, by the way, God, but know that whatever this is, goes back to the beginning. It's for my good. It's for my good. I can't see a lot of good in this right now, but I know it's for my good. Mm-hmm. I know it's like college. Can we all just skip college? Well, not everybody wants to skip college. A lot of people had a lot of good time. But like, could we skip the classes and just get the job? Could we just get the degree and get on with the right. Can I skip all the classes? Right. And it's like, no. See, that's a part of the process for your good, for your success, for your whatever. It's like, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. Yeah. No matter what, how you shape it up, right?
Well, and you had mentioned pruning. I think people look at pruning the wrong way. When they're like, oh, God's got to prune you. They think it hurts, right? God's cutting you. He's cutting parts of you off. And people see that as a painful thing. They see that as a challenge. But why do trees get pruned? Why do vines get pruned?
For the growth.
Well, yeah, usually because what's growing, what's going out there isn't providing fruit, right? It's you're stretching out and you're stretching out and you're stretching out, and energy is going out to all these little shoots. But all these little shoots are taking up all the energy, so there's not enough energy to provide the fruit that's needed. So if you strip away the things that are drawing your energy that aren't yielding anything, and allow that energy to be concentrated into the tight center, the core, that main vine. Get rid of all the little tendrils. Get rid of all the branches. On corn, they're called suckers, right? You have to, as you're growing corn, you got to go take off the suckers, or they're going to draw all the energy, and the corn's not going to grow big ears, which is, of course, what you want when you're growing corn. You want those ears. You want that fruit.
Right.
And so instead of looking at pruning as painful, looking at the opportunity to go, hey, I'm not having to expend extra energy where it yields nothing. God's giving me an opportunity to focus that energy into something that is going to be beneficial, that is going to yield fruit. And so
wait, are you telling me that your pruning hasn't sucked and hasn't been painful?
It's all in the perspective, really, truly.
I mean, no. I get that it's in the perspective. No, right. You're right. No,
I mean, it really, truly, honestly, it depends on where your focus is at. If you're focused on what you're losing out on or what's being taken from you, yeah, it's going to suck.
Okay.
But if your focus is on, I know that this is bringing fruit. I know that not having that energy go away in that way, but having energy going into something that's beneficial, it really, it's easy to say, oh, it's just a perspective thing.
Yeah.
But it really, truly is. It's where's your heart? It's like in serving. Where's your heart? Where's your focus? What are you really wanting to come out of it? Are you doing it for the glory of you, or are you doing it for the glory of God?
Sure.
These pruning opportunities that God provides to us, right? We're his no matter what.
Right.
So, I mean, Paul didn't get angry that he was in prison. He wasn't complaining about his woes. He got beat. He got imprisoned. He got wrecked on a ship. He spent some hard times doing a lot of things, and still he smiled, and still he gave glory to God.
He did. You're right.
Because he knew that those things that were being taken from him were energy that he didn't have to expend that energy in that direction anymore. He was given a much more clean, precise focus on where he was able to grow fruit.
For sure. And his perspective, I read that chapter a lot in there. He was like, it's a pleasure to know that I am not just a reflection of him, but I am able to go through this for him. And it's like, whoa, that's hardcore perspective right there, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're like it's one thing to smile through it, but it's to find pleasure in knowing that you're doing this for him.
Yeah.
That's a level of like you said, and I truly believe perspective is everything.
Right.
And when you only have one perspective, when you're only looking at things from one lens, it makes it really hard to see like the beauty, the blessings, the love, the mercy of even like this sucks, but like it could be worse. Like the mercy that's there. It's like, wow. Yeah, that changes it all.
I think it's really easy for us to get caught up in what we want, what we have going on, and when we see those things taken away from us, the physical stuff, the personal things that we feel is being taken from us, God's never going to prune himself off of us. He's never going to cut through our life source, which is him. And so if you're upset about the pruning, where's your focus at anyway? If you're upset about the things that he's taking away from you, why are you upset about those? Well, because it affects you physically. Does it affect you, this friend isn't my friend anymore, or I lost this job. Well, maybe that wasn't the best job for you. Maybe you were allowing that job to take over your life, and you were putting all of your focus and your energy into the money that you were making or to the status that you were getting from that, and you weren't focusing on God anymore. You were taking God out of the equation, and this was me doing this. So does it hurt because your focus wasn't in the right spot? Does it hurt because you're putting something else before God? And I think really, truly, when we're getting pruned, if it hurts, it's probably because it was something that was taking your focus off of God.
Facts.
And it hurts because it's like, oh, well, but you're taking my God, my TV away from me. You're taking my, it's not God.
Okay, this is good because I literally told my son one time, I said, it hurts when you don't have things, but things have you. That's when it really hurts. That's when you recognize that it was the wrong way. Yes, it's like I went to a season where like I had like a small addiction to tennis shoes. But the truth is I wasn't getting tennis shoes, or I didn't own the tennis shoes. The tennis shoes owned me.
Right.
And they were, and I like, if you had told me like, hey, look, you got to give that up. You give it up. Like, don't tell me what to give up. Like every man needs a hobby and a passion, and this is mine. But there came a time where I recognized that, wow, these shoes truly have me. Like, or this may have me. And I feel like a lot of us all have at one time, it was the money I was making from my job. It had me.
Right.
And you're right. When you can release it, like, or when you can say what you said earlier, God, it doesn't matter whether I have this job or you take me somewhere else. It doesn't matter whether I have this house or you take me somewhere else. I'm not holding on to anything except for you, because I know wherever you're going to take me, it's going to once again be for my good. You're the provider. I can look at all this stuff and be like, well, look what I did. No, look what you did.
Right.
And if you've done this once, you can do it again.
Oh, for sure.
You can do it again. I could give all this away and you could do it again. And so I think when you have that perspective, it changes the way you look at it all. So that's good. That's good. This is good. I enjoyed this. We should do this more often.
It's been very nice. I'm sorry that it took so long.
Yeah, no. I think that when these conversations happen, they happen exactly when they're supposed to happen, how they're supposed to happen, and they speak to exactly who they're supposed to speak to in the season they're supposed to speak to them, because some of the things you said today would not have rang as hard if it had been last month, 2 years ago, whenever.
Right.
So, no, I trust God with all these conversations. I never push or try to rush somebody if I've been talking to them like, hey, man, you should really join me. Because I recognize that once I put the invite out there, then it's on God to like make it happen.
Yeah.
To say, okay, time to go now. And I'm really excited. I was excited that you were coming, but I'm excited about any conversation that happens in the future that like I've already I mailed out the invite. It's just a matter of like when guys like it's time to accept and go now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you bringing your story. I appreciate you bringing your vulnerability, man. I really appreciate you just you allowing the conversation to start from a place of like, it wasn't easy to get here. Like a lot of people see the finished product of like, man, and I'm doing this and we're serving together. And it's like, yeah, but it took, this was all built on tears and pain and hurt and disbelief of what God was trying to say, for me to finally say, I'm all ears. You got my undivided attention. I understand that when you say it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time to go. So I appreciate you bringing that today, man. And I really appreciate the conversation. And I'm sure all my listeners will too. They always do. But if they don't, guess what? I enjoyed it. So that's all that mattered. I told God that when I started this podcast, if nobody else listens, man, I'm going to enjoy this now. Going to get something out of this. This is going to be therapy for me and hopefully the other person. But no, this has been good. So I appreciate you joining me today.
My pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Normally I do this thing where I like ask people like, so how can people follow you or anything like that? But you follow him right here through this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed him.
I'm not on any social media. I'm nowhere to be found. Exactly. I don't exist.
Unless you come to church.
Right. Yeah, you can see me at the sound booth. Wave at me. Just let me know. Yes. Let me know you see me. Wave at me.
Right. That's
keep
good
it
enough.
Simple. Yeah.
That's good enough. No, well, thank you again, brother. I appreciate you joining me today. Appreciate all you guys listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
We appreciate you listening today and hope that if you enjoyed this episode, you'll like and subscribe and also listen to past episodes. We hope to bring you great future content as well. Please comment your thoughts on this episode as well as leave any prayer requests below so that this community can pray alongside you. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook at God's Glory and Men's Real Stories.
Brothers, we understand how the thoughts of even facing your own past and current story and the pain and hurt that come along with this is no easy task. But you're not alone, as you hear in these episodes. Nor has God forgotten you or left your side, as He's in it with you, fighting alongside you through the storms of life. He loves and has already forgiven you, no matter what you have done, and He wants a relationship with you. Your healing, freedom, and growth are important to God, and to us as well. Maybe you're considering giving up, or need someone to talk to. Here are a few resources that already exist that we hope can shine a light into that dark place you're in. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number is 1-800-273-8255. If you need support but are not in crisis, consider reaching out to a warm line with individuals who would love to talk with you. Speaking to someone on these calls is typically free and confidential and run by people who understand what it's like to struggle in life. Find a local number by going to warmline.org.